This episode of Handyguys TV is sponsored by the Handyguys Podcast Store. Just go to handyguyspodcast.com and click on Store, and you'll find the tools that the Handyguys recommend.
Welcome to the Handyguys Podcast, where we work together on that honey-do list. Here are the Handyguys, Brian and Paul.
Hey, this is Paul with the Handyguys Podcast. We're up here in the garage for our garage time, and thanks to Milwaukee, they provided us with a couple brand new Sawzalls for us to try out. We have three models here. Two are the models that Milwaukee provided for us. We have a 3/4 stroke Milwaukee Sawzall, a 1 1/8 stroke, and then Brian has his old 15-year-old metal casing, or mostly metal and plastic. That's an 1 1/4 stroke Sawzall. So we're going to do a test now to see how they perform on these pieces of wood. And in each of these pieces of wood, we're going to nail in 3 nails to give it a little bit of a workout. Okay, that took 4.2 seconds, 7.5 seconds. All right, now we have the old Sawzall. Ready? Get set. Go. 4.2. Okay, Brian, we thank Milwaukee for providing us a couple of those Sawzalls to do this test. I've always used Sawzalls in the past. They're great products, great saws, but I'd never really given any consideration to the length of the stroke.
Right. That's right. I mean, I didn't realize until we got the press release from Milwaukee that they had essentially the same saw with 2 different stroke lengths.
Right. I mean, it looked identical. And
That's
I wouldn't,
right.
I mean, if I saw that thing on the shelf at the store, I'm not sure I would have noticed that spec, the specification
That's
on
right.
that length.
And that's an important specification, as we've just learned.
We did. So you can see from our video that the results are on a similar, a saw that looks identical with a different stroke length from 3/4 inch to 1 1/8. You go from a time from 7.5 seconds for the 3/4 inch stroke to, for the 1 1/8 saw, it's 4.2 seconds, and that actually tied your saw, which was of similar.
Right. My saw
stroke.
was the 1 1/4, ran a little bit slower as far as strokes per minute, but tied the 1 1/8 at 3,000 strokes per minute.
So let's talk about why you might want one saw over the other, because I
Right.
think the reality is not that one is better than the other. They have 2 different
They're
purposes.
different, right.
Subtle, but they're different.
Right. So I think the longer stroke length is going to be better for demolition.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They're both oriented to demolition, but the one with the shorter stroke length is going to be able to get into tighter spots. One of the things I've seen, especially people first time using a Sawzall, that they run into is that blade, as it's oscillating in and out, will hit something
Right.
right on the tip,
Yeah.
right? As they're making a cut, it's going to hit a board behind it or something like that. And then end up bending a blade or something like that.
Or pushing the saw right out of your hand sometime, right? Or
Right.
pushing you back.
Right. So a shorter stroke length is going to give you a little finer control, is going to let you get into tighter spots,
Okay.
things like that. But the longer stroke length is going to cut through whatever you're cutting through faster.
So how do you decide if you're going to buy one of them?
If you're going to buy one, for me, because it's primarily a demolition tool, I'm going to go for the longer stroke length.
Okay.
And learn how to handle it, and learn how that, yeah, you do have that blade that's going to move 1 1/8. So you have to have clearance on the back side of that blade. You got to realize you're going to need that clearance.
Okay, so there you have it. So if you're going to buy a Sawzall, check the stroke length, and here's some information you can use when you go shopping for one.